Radhe Radhe. Today on February 6th, 2022, Mummy and I are here to present a recap video for our Bhagavad Gita study session.
Radhe Radhe.
I'll go ahead and share my screen and get us through some summary of our content. So as always, we had the quiz to begin with, 6 questions this time. Hopefully people could take part. And then if not, go back and review them as well. And then we finished the last 3 verses of chapter 4. So an important step of our chapter 4 journey today, chapter 4 verses 40, 41, and 42. Chapter 4 verse 40, we called it skeptic, really trying to say that being doubtful is bad or infectious in a wrong way. We would like to continue instead, like chapter 4 verse 39, to maintain as much faith as we can in God, Guru, and the scriptures. And in fact, Sri Krishna himself states that for those who do not have faith, they're skeptical, they have doubt instead, they suffer a downfall. And that downfall or that misery or happiness is in fact not just in this world, but in the next one as well, because union with God will not be achieved. So we talked about Swamiji's commentary of the 3 different categories of sadhaks or spiritual aspirants. The highest kind, very difficult, but those are the ones who have knowledge and faith. We talked about the medium, or what I said also is a second-class kind of sadhak, which is a good thing for us to aspire towards, having at least faith in God and Guru, even if knowledge is difficult to get, and it is something that will come over time. So this is an important one that I said we should strive to become. The one we don't want to be, of course, is the lowest class of devotees or sadhaks, which is the group of people that do not have knowledge and also do not have faith. Another word for that lowest class actually is neophyte. And again, we do not want to be like that. We want to try to be at least a medium class or second class sadhak. Mummy, would you like to sing us through perhaps the categorization of these sadhaks? And then we'll get into some Sanskrit word or 2.
Yes. So in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, we get these shlokas which says, Shastrayuktau cha nipunaha sarvatha dridha nishchayaha praudha shraddhodhikariyaha sabhaktav uttamo mataha यह शास्त्रादेशवानि पुनः श्रद्धावान् स तु मध्यमः यो भवेत् कोमल श्रद्धः स कनिष्ठो निगद्यते. So basically, if you understand the 3rd class of sadhak, they neither have faith nor have knowledge, and they are skeptical. Now, why does that happen? That actually happens because of the tamasic guna. Because of the tamasic guna, they are so engaged in enjoying these worldly material things that they don't believe or they don't have faith in God.
Interesting. And I guess Madhyama is the one at the least that we wish to strive towards.
Madhyama is the second, the medium class, which is more achievable for all of us, whereby we have faith in God. We may not have that much knowledge. Knowledge slowly we can aspire to get. So this is the same thing, transcending the 3 gunas, from tamasic to rajasic to sattvic. So medium class sadhaks can aspire to be more sattvic and move towards great shraddha and spirituality together.
That makes sense. All right, we then did chapter 4 verse 41. That is the zealous 0 catchphrase for it. We talked about the value or the power of 0 in this case based on Swamiji's commentary. The first part, however, here important is that Sri Krishna tells Arjun an important compound phrase, which is yoga sanyasta karmanam. we'll have Mummy talk about that briefly in a minute. And really the idea here is, of course, Karma Yoga, the fire of yoga. We'll hear some concepts around that. So that is the first aspect here. The second part, as I mentioned, Swamiji has given us this very easy to remember mathematical analogy here. Any work we do, if we dedicate it to God, then we don't have those karmic reactions. So that is zero in terms of any reactions. You can do much more of that. You can multiply by 10, 1,000, 1,000,000. In Swamiji's new commentary, he uses a lakh over there. That's the only one difference. So it's 1,000,000, a lakh, doesn't matter. It's always going to be zero. So we aspire towards more and more of that. So Mummy, yoga sanyasta karmanam.
Yes. Yoga sannyasta karmanam. So basically, this phrase is made of 3 Sanskrit words, yoga, sannyasta, and then karmanam. So what is Krishna saying? Krishna is saying that we need to take sannyas from the ritualistic karmakand part of Vedas. This is one thing we have to understand, because those rituals just teach us how to get more and more from God through doing those rituals. So it is always for our self-interest, whereas we have to learn to attach our mind and practice karma yoga in our life, so that we are not looking for self-interest. We are doing everything for the pleasure of God, by offering every service to God, and by dedicating all our body, soul, and mind to God. With our body, we do such actions which are for the pleasure of God. In mind, we have spiritual thoughts, and slowly that will keep on purifying our heart and mind. So we'll be dedicating body, mind, and soul to God. So this is what Krishna is teaching us to learn.
Indeed. And as you said, the sannyas part of it is to give up the element of rituals only from a self-interest standpoint. We don't renunciate everything in terms of work or duties. In fact, we continue to do as much work as we can for the pleasure and enjoyment of God, where we are not seeking the fruits or the outcomes. So Karma Yoga again being the key emphasis. Finally, we covered the last verse of chapter 4, verse 42, and clear message there from Sri Krishna to Arjun: dispel doubts. And the way he does that is he uses the concept of this sword of knowledge, very sharp and powerful, to be used to cut asunder all the doubts that have arisen in Arjun's heart. Heart here meaning that subtle machinery, referring to the mind as well. And so getting rid of those doubts, and then really a call to action to perform duty, which is something that Arjun has been confused about all this time since the battle was about to start on Kurukshetra's battleground. And so he uses an appellation for him as Bharata, O scion of Bharat, and again reminding him to be established in Karma Yoga, to arise, stand up, and take action. So that is again as Sri Krishna as the spiritual master of Arjun, cleaving out the doubts from the mind, telling Arjun to cleave out doubts, cut through, split them apart, and be steadfast in Karma Yoga. Mummy, is there a Sanskrit word you would like us to take away today?
Yes, very important Sanskrit word is uttisht. Uttisht means arise, wake up, get up. This is what Krishna is saying, that with this divine knowledge, keep in mind the knowledge of the self and dedicate your actions to God, offer it in the service pleasure of God, and do your Karma Yoga.
All right. And for English, I particularly like the word asunder, and we'll actually send something later that also has a use of this in a spiritual context. So please keep a lookout for that. As I said, that is chapter 4, verse 42. So a remarkable achievement, hopefully for everybody as participants of the class. Thanks to the energy provided by God and with the grace of God and Guru, we've been able to get through all 42 verses. Of course, the class doesn't end here. There is going to be a quiz next week. We'll have a summary and a quiz. So we look forward to that lesson. As also Swamiji says in the commentary, we'll get to see a preview, or we had a preview in class about what lies ahead in chapter 5. We'll discuss logistics on how to go about that as well in the upcoming weeks. And final thing I'm reminded of actually is a quotation that Nalini Auntyji had mentioned in class. Very pertinent here today, as we did a discussion at the end. So by Rabindranath Tagore, the quote is, "Faith is the bird that feels the light and sings when the dawn is still dark." Very, very powerful imagery there, and very pertinent again. So thank you, Nalini Auntyji, for sharing that.
Let me remind once again the 3 words, Shravanam, Manan, and Nididhyasan. These 3 things keep in your mind. Keep on learning to the divine knowledge from the teacher again and again. Keep on debating, understand with your intellect, and then Nididhyasam, really deeply contemplate and apply in your life. And same, another important topic was Antakaran, where mind functions at 4 levels, mind, intellect, buddhi, mind, intellect, chit, and ego. So these 4 words also keep in your dictionary. And now this Rabindranath Tagore's quote. Yes, many of us who have lived in India would have experienced this early in the morning. It's not even light, but the birds start chirping. And with that sound, we do get up early in the morning in Brahm Muhurt. That means these birds are having that faith and hope that soon it is going to be light and prakash all over when the sun rises. So with that, let's all have great faith and shraddha, and then grow into nishtha for that God who has given us this universe and provided us with everything. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Mummy, as well. Thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe.